All right, we normally record, actually stream it on my YouTube channel, so that those who are unable to attend can visit to listen to our discussions, and your good selves can also listen to our discussion at at a later date. So you're welcome. So we do this on a weekly basis, except on a few occasions where I happen to be indisposed, as was the case this last weekend. Otherwise, our sessions hold from 7 to 8 p.m. every Saturday, West African time. And it's an opportunity for everyone attending. Is free. Of course, it's an opportunity for you to bring up issues of leadership, either issues that you are concerned about or issues that challenges that you may be having. It's an opportunity to seek counsel, both from myself and from the house. And the idea is that with every meeting and the insights we gain, we can improve our capacity to lead, and we can become good leaders, the good leaders that we desire to see in others. So I welcome everyone this evening. I always remind us that the platform is more for you than for me, even though I, learn a lot from our discussions. So I want to encourage us to take full advantage of it. More and more people will join. Some people have been trying to join, having challenges, I guess, with their internet connection and what have you. So expect to see more people join us as we go. All right, so the floor is open for anyone who wants to set the ball rolling. If you have any concerns on leadership, if you need any insights, if there's anything that you seek clarification on, if there's counsel that you expect, that you would like on, any aspect of your experience in leadership, here is an opportunity to put them squarely on the table, and we'll try and address them as much as we can. But in addition, today, I want to share with you, some remarks from the chairman of UBA PLC. He's also the chairman of Heirs Group, and is a popular person, by name Tony Elumelu. And I saw he made a post on his social media, handles. At least I saw one on LinkedIn, and I saw it also on Facebook, and it was very interesting. I shared certain views of mine on his post on LinkedIn, but I thought it would be useful for us to x-ray it and see what we can learn from it as well. So please go ahead and if you have any questions, if you have any issues for me, I'm here. We are all here. Let's make the most of this opportunity. Let's see what we can benefit from ourselves. So permit me in the interim to share the screen so I can read out that post that Tony made during the course of the week. I'm not sure if you can see this very well, but what I would do also is to try and I would copy it and put the link in the chat so that anyone, you also can actually visit that post directly. and if you have a means of reading it, you can do that, yourself. Now, so I'll just read through, while we're waiting for your contributions. And this is what he said. This post was 5 days ago. That would be like on Tuesday. He said, people often ask me, how do I learn leadership? Should I go on a course, buy a book, get a mentor? Are leaders born, or can you become a leader? Just as I say about business success, leadership has many components. Luck, being in the right place at the right time. But I also believe that those talents and those disciplines that you bring, creating a vision and the resilience and focus that delivers that vision, can also forge your personal leadership. And it goes further to say, I was fortunate to work with Chief Ebitimi Banigo at the start of my career. My leadership philosophy was built working with him. It started with Chief Banigo taking the time to read my application letter and giving me a chance to prove myself at All States Trust Bank in 1988. When my colleagues tell me today, TOE, you respond too fast to our emails, I laugh because I learned from the master himself, Chief Banigo. When I send memos to him, he would respond within 24 hours. Therefore, why should I not respond even faster in this age of technology? These are some of the leadership values I learned from my time with Chief Banigo, and I practice them all today. Leaders must demand excellence. That's the first. Leaders must demand excellence. Only by going the extra mile and pushing ourselves will we truly develop and stand out. Hard work and excellence made my bosses, Tony Johnson and Ebitimi Banigo, notice and subsequently believe in me. At 27, I went from being a trainee to being a boss when I was appointed a branch manager, the youngest bank branch manager at the time. All the things I learned earlier came into play, and I continued learning. All the things I learned earlier came into play, and I continued learning. And it goes further to say, good leaders find in people what people do not know they possess. Leaders recognize the talent in their team and then push to unlock the talent. When I work to achieve my goals, but I also work to unlock my team's skills. I know everyone I work with has huge potential. For me, my success is also about the success of others, growing and nurturing their talent. That is the foundation of our growth as Heirs Holdings Group. This focus on talent, teams, personal transformation is why I am so insistent on creating institutions, cultures, and pathways where human capital can thrive. It is why I am an investor in businesses, but also entrepreneurs across Africa. Leaders must walk their talk. A leader must be consistent. People want to trust a leader they believe has integrity. Leadership is not just about telling people what to do. It's also about setting an example. A good leader must lead by example and practice what they preach. This demonstrates integrity. It builds trust and respect. Then leaders must impart knowledge. That's another point that he's making. I benefited from the mentorship of Chief Banigo at All States Trust Bank. And those are the remarks made by the gentleman that I'm sure everyone on this platform knows is the chairman of UBA PLC, the chairman of Heirs Holdings Group. And remember, he says, people often ask him, how do I learn leadership? Should I go on course? Should I buy a book? Should I get a mentor? A leader's born, or how can you become a leader? And I hope you have listened to, all that he has had to say. These are the words of someone who sits in a leadership position today, in a very instructive leadership position, someone that many people look up to. And I thought, it's an interesting piece to gain insight, very valuable insight into how the minds of certain leaders work and to see what you can learn from them. So haven't had me and, just read out those remarks. The floor is open. Let's talk about that. What strike you in the thoughts expressed on leadership by Tony Elumelu, as you have listened to, what questions come up, what issues can we further drill down on from what we have read. So who wants to go first? Please share with us what's your takeaway. Is there anything here that gives you a better understanding of what leadership entails, or what the likes of this leader faces in their day-to-day performance of their leadership role? Is there anything that resonates with you? Is there anything that is like a puzzle, or a riddle that you would like a clarification on? I think there is so much that we can learn from what he has said, and as seemingly short as it is, whoever is wise and whoever desires to learn leadership and to build leadership competence, all that he has said is worth not just taking a closer look at, but also thinking through. So who has issues for us to address or to take note of from what we have read? You can raise your hand or just unmute yourself and speak. The floor is open. Let's make the most of our time together, ladies and gentlemen, this evening. Once again, it's Smart Leader Live. And here it's all about when you learn from the likes of, those who are in leadership positions like this, you improve your smartness for sure in terms of leadership. All right. Let's have comments, please. Let's have comments. It's not, the session isn't about me. I always insist, the session is about all of us. We're all here to hone our leadership skills, and it's one of the most important, if not the most important skills now that any of us need to pay attention to developing. So please go ahead. Let's see some hands up. Let's hear some voices, please. That's why you are here. Hello, who's going to start us off? One question, one thought, your own point of view. Does it tell you anything that you haven't known before? Does it, provoke some thought about what the likes of people like this may be going through, or what it takes to actually, be a good leader? Is there anything here that you believe you should take away and begin to put to use right now that will really help you in your own journey. Hello, I hope everyone can still hear me and I'm not just talking to myself. Let's hear some contributions, please. Hello, Chiso, any word for us? Anything that you are taking away? Mr. Oni, you are welcome. Imisi, you are welcome as well. Mr. Lajide, I hope it's Mr. And I see someone here who is OR. I see Reverend Olawoye here. You are all welcome to the session tonight. The floor is open. Let's hear your voices, please. Is anybody going to speak to us, or should we just call it a day, perhaps? That would be a shame. Surely we can't say we don't have anything to learn from somebody like this. We listen to these guys every day. You know, we see what they are doing. We know what they are involved with. And occasionally they give us an idea of what you know, what their life entails. And in this case, we have the privilege of, you know, some insight into what their leadership, the way they look at leadership. So why not let's you know, let's look at this. All right. Okay, I'm seeing some contribution from Imisi here. Thank you. So at least that will get us started out. And he says, after the greetings, I believe that leadership is a continuous process. You always learn on the job or you experience it. As you go along, you see and learn new things. There are some things I've learned from my few years of running a business and seeing people in leadership roles. All right. So he's making the point here that leadership is a continuous process. You have to keep learning how to lead, is what I take away from that. You know, you learn on the job or you experience it. As you go along, you see and learn new things. And in the few years of running his own business, you know, he's learned a couple of things, and especially seeing people in leadership roles. All right, thank you for that. Who else wants to, you know, chip in something? Remember what we have read out from Tony Elumelu, whom we all know, I believe, and he shared a couple of things. You know, he said to us, I was fortunate to work with Chief Bitimi Banigo at the start of my career. My leadership philosophy was built working with him. He said somewhere, leaders must demand excellence. He said also, good leaders find in people what people did not know they possess. And then he says, leaders must walk their talk. And then he says, leaders must impart knowledge. He closed by saying, I benefited from the mentorship of Chief Banigo at All States Trust Bank. All right. So there you are. Imisi, thank you for starting us out. Who else is going to add? I've tried to, you know, summarize again the essential points from Tony's submission. Let's have more contributions, please. Let's have more contributions. Let's enrich this discussion. We all have a lot to take away from what this gentleman, you know, a well-accomplished person has shared with us, specifically on the all-important subject of leadership. So who else is saying something to us? Chiso, anything? Mr. Lajide, anything? You want to say something to us? Let's hear from you. Reverend Olawoye, let's hear from you. OR, let's hear from you. Mr. Oni, Let's hear from you, sir. I believe everyone can hear me. So why is the whole, I thought you would have gotten used to the way we run things, on the platform. It's a discussion forum, and we are all leaders, whether we like it or not. We are all, I believe everyone on this platform, has a leadership responsibility at one level or the other, in one sphere or the other. It may not be professional, it may be in other areas, but it doesn't matter, when you have a leadership role or a leadership responsibility, is the same thing, because leadership involves lives. The lives of people, are involved. And it doesn't matter whether you encounter those lives in your professional journey or you encounter them, in other aspects of your journey, maybe your spiritual journey, or some other social journeys. Because the lives of people are involved, and because a leader impacts people, has been given responsibility for people, leadership still remains important. And to that extent, it's important that one learns as much as one can on this very important issue. It's also as a, when you look at our national life, is also is one of the most important, if not the most important issue that we're grappling with now. All issues about election is about leadership, and all of us are clamoring for one thing or the other, for one person or the other. It's all about leadership. If leadership wasn't important, most of us wouldn't even get interested. But look at where we are today. Unfortunately, many of us are expecting, some wonderful leaders to drop from somewhere, when in fact each of us has a role at our levels, and we must be developing ourselves, because we have to develop ourselves into the leaders that we're expecting to see. Otherwise, to expect a leader to show up when we are not working on ourselves is to be hypocritical about the whole issue of leadership. So I'm trying to fill gaps, and to get everyone to know that we're all in this together, and to encourage you to say something, please. Let's still hear from, I think,
okay.
Yes.
Yes. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Okay, so there are so many aspects of this this write-up, like you read to us, so many things to pick out, to learn, or to, unlearn, really. So this part, when they're saying that leaders recognize the talent in their team, and they push to unlock that talent, I really love that part. You can actually spot that this person has something, and funny enough, that person doesn't even know that they have it. But the awesome part is they're saying they push to unlock that talent. So that leader is pushing you, is stressing you in quotes. That's what that person will be saying. Why would this guy or madam just leave me alone? But that person, that leader, knows that there's something here. And when he can draw that thing out, of course, the person will be better for it. So I like that part where it's basically you're not going to give up. He says he recognizes that there are all kinds of potential in his team, that everyone has the potential. That's number one, which is great. It's not just a few people, know. But apart from the fact that everyone has the potential, there's awesome thing that he knows. I'm sure at different times he would learn to recognize what they all have. But the fact that when he sees, okay, number 3, you have this thing, I'm going to draw blood out of you, as in I know you have this thing, and I'm just going to stay on you, until you give me that thing. Unfortunately, that person might be tired, might be stressed, or be wondering, why are you picking on me, But at the end of the day, when he does what he's supposed to do, when you actually deliver on that thing that you don't even know that you had, everyone will be happy. And I like that. I think we should just recognize that part too. And sometimes it actually comes just like a diamond, really, that just does not look beautiful on the outside, until it does this thing, or gold, until you keep mining it. That person might just not look, that person might just be the person that comes late to work, or that just does a shabby job. But the thing is, as a leader, that I can do better. Oh, every day I want to see you on your desk by 8 o'clock. You're wondering, why are you disturbing me? Everybody else is coming late. Why is he like? But because there's something in this person, you just keep on disturbing that person in quotes, and many things to pick out of here, really. But thank you. I will stop here for now.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for all right, for drawing out that point. Good leaders find in people what people did not know they possess. Leaders recognize the talent in their team and they push to unlock the talent. When I work to achieve my goals, but I also work to unlock my team's skills. I know everyone I work with has huge potential. For me, my success is all about the success of others, growing and nurturing their talent. That is the foundation of our growth at Heirs Holdings Group. Now, this is a very important part, for so many reasons. Like I posted, on my LinkedIn, there are a number of things that this brings to the fore. I mean, these are some of the things that we teach, and it was gladdening to hear this leader mention them. That first of all, a leader must not write off anyone. Now, everyone is endowed with talent. Everyone is endowed with a gift. Everyone has something unique that they bring to the table. All right? And they may not know. Just like you may stand, on a piece of land. You may even build a house on a piece of land without knowing that deep beneath that land, there is oil or there is gold, okay? But what a leader does is that the leader looks at each person with that mindset. So the leader is out to identify what gift this person brings to the table. All right, knowing very well that each person is talented. Now, some people may even know they have the gift, but they may not know how to use it or how to develop it. And that's where a good leader also comes in. They know how to help you identify your gift. They know how to help you develop it, including challenging you, all right, to take responsibility and develop it. It's interesting, that when you look, as you know, that our approach at Emmett Leadership Academy is that we nurture leaders based on truth. And truth for us is found in the Word of God. And you see, Timothy was a protege of Paul. And Paul repeatedly said to him, he made this point about his gift. In each time Paul spoke to Timothy by way of the letters that he wrote to him, he called his attention to the gift. And he challenged him, all right, to stir up that gift in him. Okay? Now, I've once said that leaders are given as gifts to people. Leaders are given as gifts to us. Where you find a good leader is a gift. If you recognize that a good leader is a gift, then you know how to make the most of that gift. The interesting thing is that the leader is not just a gift, all right? One of the things that gift of leadership helps you with is that it helps you to identify the gift that is in you. So maybe one dimension of that gift is that, it helps you, the leader helps you to identify your own gift. The other thing that should be mentioned is that the leader also transfers his own gift, shares his own gift with you. And you would notice something in what Tony wrote here. He said there are some leadership values I learned from my time with Chief Banigo, and I practice them all today. So what was Tony saying here? What's this leader saying? This leader is saying, I am reflective of gifts that my leader, the one who trained and mentored me, carried. All right. So a good follower knows that he or she is ready for a double portion. Okay. For a double portion if you truly follow a leader. The first is that the leader will share what makes him or her tick, in quotes, with you, which you can see here. At the same time, the leader will help you to discover what is unique in you and help you to develop it. All right? That's why proteges turn out to be greater. I mean, to be better, not greater, than their leaders. All right? That's why they can do great, they can achieve greater results, in quotes. Because the interesting thing about what Tony has shared is that All States Trust Bank, I mean, how big was it? It wasn't particularly big. And I'm not sure how it ended up. Whether it made it in the consolidation era or it didn't make it. But there is no way you would compare what All States Trust Bank, how far Chief Banigo led All States Trust with what Tony has done, beginning from the likes of, Standard Trust Bank, up until UBA, and indeed to whatever he has accomplished now. You have a bank that is far bigger, that he manages now, that is far bigger than whatever All States Trust Bank was. Okay? Now, but he has that capacity. But this man is pointing you to where he got this capacity from. He's telling you that don't look at me as a superstar. He's telling you, I am not self-made by any means. And this is one of the things I love about this, submission. This is a write-up that says, I am the product of a leader. I didn't just, if I know to do anything today, it's because I learned them from somebody. So, you see, he says people would ask him, should I buy a book? Should I go for a course and all of that? Now, what's one of the key answers here is that you need to find a good leader and follow, commit to following. Because leaders are made by leaders. They are not born. He said there are leaders born, leaders are not born. All right? Because if leaders were born, then it would be the case that everyone would be able to identify their gift and to use it. And the truth is that the average person, indeed, nobody can truly identify his or her gift and develop how to use it. You are better off under somebody, who can help you to do that. And that's what leaders are given for. That's why leaders are given. So for people, you also don't wait. Look at what he said. Look at what he said somewhere. Let me read an important point where he said, he said, when my colleagues tell me today, TOE, you respond too fast to our emails, I laugh because I learned from the master himself. All right? So it tells you a vital attribute that you find in him today. He learned it. Somebody taught him. Okay, firsthand, working with somebody else. He took notice of that. He saw the benefit of that attribute. He went for that attribute. He developed that attribute in himself. Look at what he says. I like the part where he said, talking about, when he was made the youngest branch manager in the bank. Look at, he said, all the things I learned earlier came into play, and I continued learning. Everything I learned. So here is a man who is not afraid to tell you, I am the product of somebody else. I'm the product of a leader. That's what true leaders are. They don't just surface. They don't just appear. They are products of leaders. They are trained under leaders. The things that they exhibit are attributes, are beliefs, are values that they learned from other leaders and they put to use in their lives. And it works for them. They are also now using the gifts that those leaders help them to identify and to develop. He said, all the things I learned earlier came into play. That is, they even gave me an opportunity, okay, to express myself, to show what I can do. You understand? These are very important leadership lessons. Very important leadership lessons that everyone needs to take away. I love the fact also that he recognized that leaders take interest in their people. Their focus is on their people. And their success is measured by how successful they are in imparting their people. He said, look, I don't view, yes, let me read. He said, when I walk to achieve my goals, but I also work to unlock my team skills. It says, I know everyone I work with has huge potential. For me, my success, listen, for me, my success is also about the success of others, growing and nurturing talent. So there is a very important aspect that he points out here, which is that the easiest way for you to achieve those results, those KPIs, those numbers, is by nurturing and developing your people. Precisely the gifts and the talents in your people is the easiest way. No leader should try to get things done by himself or herself. Otherwise, there's no need for people to follow you. There's no need for people to look up to you. The reason that you have people, the reason that you are leading people is because you need them. And you should see them as helpers to accomplish whatever your purpose is. But the moment you step into that role, you must realize that you have a higher purpose. The higher purpose being the development, the nurturing of the people. In fact, more precisely, the development of the people into good, authentic, credible leaders like yourself. Like yourself. These are some of the very crucial lessons that we take away from what he has said. And, you know, I would ask you, for example, look at what he said, his last part. He said, leaders must impart knowledge. And then he went ahead and said, I benefited from the mentorship of Chief Banigo at All States Trust Bank. Said, I benefited from the mentorship. That means I know a lot. But what I know today, I learned them from a mentor. I learned them from somebody. So I'm going to challenge each of us. Who is your mentor? Do you have a mentor? Who are you learning from? You want to grow to become a leader? You can't become a leader by yourself. You can't become a leader without being exposed to following a leader. Is impossible. That's not how it is done. If you want to see one of the disciplines that is regimented, if you like, it is leadership. Because leadership is about continuity. Leadership is about sowing a seed and reaping a harvest. There is no way that you can reap harvest without sowing a seed. It's impossible. It's impossible. If there's something that this man, he did something here, which I will call everyone's attention to as well, is that in case you may not know him to be a humble person, but he demonstrated that character trait in his write-up here. Anyone who would write what he has written must be a humble person. Why? When you are at the level in terms of achievement, in terms of where you sit, in terms of influence, as this guy is today, it takes humility for you to still be pointing to another man as being the one who made you. It takes humility for you to point to somebody else and say, look at from the beginning to the end. This write-up is about who trained him, is about who mentored him. He made it very clear. He didn't mince words about it. He mentioned the person's name. He mentioned where it all started. He mentioned the fact that the things that he learned from this man, he's still using them till today. And yet, the person he's talking about didn't achieve 1/10 in material terms as what he has achieved. But you know what I say about what a leader needs to know and what gives leaders fulfillment. This man left the banking industry, I'm sure it must be going to possibly 15 years or more. But we're still hearing his name. And we are hearing his name from those who are movers and shakers of the same industry today. Which means everything that Tony achieved is part of the man's scorecard. And Tony himself is not afraid to mention that. That's why he said that it is okay for a leader, for a follower to be like his master. It can't be greater. And for a servant to be like his Lord, he cannot be greater. You can't be greater than the person that trained you. Why? Because everything that you achieve is also part of the achievements of that person. And we see that clearly here. This man says, when he made me a branch manager, I began to put to use the things that he taught me. I still use those things today. People ask me, how do I handle things like this? And I'm telling them, I learned from the best. All right. He started out, he concluded, I benefited from the mentorship of Chief Banigo. This submission should humble a lot of us. Should humble a lot of people who are too quick, to just castigate anybody, to castigate leaders, to find fault here and there, to think that they can be something when they are not learning from anybody. And one of the things that it tells us is that when you are trying to identify a leader, whether it's at national level or at any level, you should know what to look for. One of the questions you should be asking is, who trained you? If you find somebody who cannot point to the fact that somebody trained him, you should run away from the person. That no matter what the person says, don't come and tell me CCC, the person has competence, has nothing and all that. All that is just nonsense. Why? You can't be more competent than the person that trained you. We need to know who trained you, who did you serve, who mentored you. Why? Because leaders are produced by other leaders. The young people need to know today that they need to know how to identify leaders, good leaders. They need to bring themselves, submit themselves to such good leadership so that they can be properly trained to become good leaders. They are not going to become good leaders by castigating everybody today. They won't become good leaders by themselves. It's impossible. They will only become good leaders if they are trained by good leaders. That's the story here. That's the story here. It says leaders must walk their talk. And for those who may be interested in that, I have a series on that. I call it Becoming Authentic. It's a 9-part series. Each one will be just about, possibly somewhere about 45 minutes. So you understand exactly what it means for a leader to walk the talk, not even their talk. Because there's a difference between walking your talk and walking the talk. You can walk your talk and your people will still not regard you as an authentic leader. Why? Because walking your talk is limited to what you believe. Walking the talk reflects the demands of leadership. Because when you lead, your people have expectations by virtue of the fact that you're a leader. And those expectations are not necessarily the same as, your normal convictions in your day-to-day living. Because the relationship between you and your people is a leadership relationship. So there is a specific context to it. When they are relating with you, they're relating with you as a leader, and they have expectations accordingly. It's different from if they are relating with you, maybe you are relating as husband and wife, or you are relating with as friends, or maybe you're even relating as colleagues. But if I'm relating with you as my leader, my expectations are different. So it isn't so much about you walking your talk, it's about you walking the talk. That is, living up to what leadership, your leadership role and responsibility demands. And that's why a lot of leaders, that's why they are disappointed that in spite of the fact that they do so much, their people still don't regard them as being authentic. And it's because they focus on walking their talk, They don't focus on walking the talk. And the difference I showed in the, is in fact a 9-day series, not 7. I don't know if I said 7 days. It's a 9-day series. I talk about 7 different dimensions of authenticity. How your people assess your authenticity is not just based on walking your talk. It's based on 7 different dimensions. Walking your talk is only 1 out of 7 dimensions. So even if you sat for an exam and there are 7 questions you are supposed to answer all and you answer 1, even if you answered that 1 perfectly, you will still fail the exam. You will still fail the exam. All right. So, but again, it's interesting to note that at least the issue of authenticity comes up. The issue of authenticity comes up. And by the way, I have the community that is the Authentic Leadership Community. And, maybe before the end of our session, I can post a link for those who may be interested in joining. And there, it's about building authenticity into our leadership, conduct. It's a paid community, so it's for serious-minded people, and I have sessions there, on a weekly basis, outside of guest sessions that we hold and some other activities that we undertake. I would see if I can put up a link there. But if I'm unable to put that link before we run through for today, anyone who is interested, I can send you an email if you will just put your email address in the chat. Okay, so all right, so I have said so much again. Are there other things that you want to bring up from what we have listened to, or other questions that you may have? Please, you still have an opportunity to raise your questions, to make your contributions. I welcome Mr. Alade. I think you've joined us a bit, but I've been speaking and I didn't quite see your name. So, welcome once again. All right. So who else wants to share with us what they think or what they are taking away from what Tony has said, from what Chiso has chipped in, from what I have chipped in as well? I think we can still use a few more minutes to touch on any other, areas of interest, and before we round up. So the floor is open once again. The floor is open. Let's hear from you, ladies and gentlemen. Any other comments, or are we done with all that Tony has to say to us?
Good evening, sir.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Mr. Oni. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I think this is one of the sessions I've enjoyed most. Even though my internet was very unstable.
All right.
I mean, it's insightful. Full of learning, full of wisdom. So, I just have a question.
Okay.
When we say, you said that a servant cannot be greater than his master.
Yes.
How about maybe after the master has left and the servant is no longer on? it possible for the servant now becoming a master of himself, or a master of others, will now become greater than master? Because Tony Elumelu now, maybe
Yes,
financially and terms of level of impact,
yes,
number of banks he has, the heirs, he might even have got done far more than the man he was referring to when he
yeah,
started his career, because he chose to grow and even become very vibrant and also very impactful. I'll give another example of Pastor Adeboye. When
yes,
you compare his achievements with that of his predecessor,
yes,
I think he has done even much more. But what I want to differentiate is that these guys did the exploits
yes,
after they graduated from being servants.
yes,
They were no longer under that like organization or under that control, so to say. They are
yes,
now free to use their initiative, and so all those principles they learn,
yes.
it really helped them, to become great.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. There are two things that are important that Jesus said on this matter, and is the fact that a servant can be greater than the master. Okay, but he also said that the servant will do greater works than the master, which is not a contradiction.
That's correct.
Uh-huh.
Yes, yes.
So Tony, Pastor Adeboye, they are doing greater works now than their master. That means they are getting greater results. Okay? But those results don't make them greater than their master. Why? Because whatever they achieve today, it is attributed to what they collected from their master. So part of their scorecard is anything that the people that they trained achieved. So, and that's the point here. It's not that, and it's a humbling perspective. It's a humbling truth that will help every leader, okay, not to get ahead of himself, not to develop a swelling head. The Bible says there is nothing you have that you have not received. And if you have received them, why do you boast about them? Why do you want to boast about them? You have no basis for boasting, because the things you are using are the things that I taught you. The fact that, I, who taught you farming, I had only one plot of land. All right. But I'm the one that taught you how to do farming, how to plant, how to nurture, how to get harvest. It doesn't mean that when you now have 1 hectare or 10 hectares, because you are planting 10 hectares, that you are now greater than me. All right. You would achieve greater harvest than me. But the reason that you are not greater than me is that all the knowledge you are using on that your 10 hectares, you collected it from me. So in a sense, everything you achieve on your 10 hectares is part of what I achieved. I only achieved it through you because I'm the one that taught you what you are doing. I don't know if that point is clear to you. All right. So, and it doesn't matter, by the way, if I'm not sure if Chief Banigo is still alive, I'm not sure. But even if he were no more alive, Tony will still write what he has written. All right. So what it tells you is that good leaders also don't die. As long as their proteges are alive and making waves, those leaders are still alive. You understand? That's what it is. And that's the challenge of leadership. And that's why, by the way, the true measure of a leader's performance is what happens after the leader has left the stage. Does the leader's works die with him, or are there people that the leader has left behind, has nurtured and trained, who continue with the work of the leader? Interestingly, leadership is about continuity of personalities. All right? It's about continuity of personalities. Because if I trained you, look at all that Tony has said, and you collect all these things from me, and you go ahead, you are using them, guess what you also would do? You also would deposit those things in the people that you train. They also will go ahead and deposit those things in the people that they train. So, am I dead? No, I'm not. I continue to live, but I live through all the people that I have trained and that go ahead to train other people. Because what are we all doing? We are transferring virtues. We are transferring attributes, character attributes, from one person to the other. So when you look at an Elumelu today, an Elumelu is not made up of Tony Elumelu. It's made up in large part of the man that he's talking about today. All right? And the people who have worked with Tony Elumelu, all right, have also learned. If we were to ask some of his people today, they will talk about the things that they have learned from him. But now, if those people don't already know what you and I know, now they will also know that the things that they collected from Tony Elumelu had collected from somebody else. If we had the opportunity of listening to Chief Banigo, he would have told us also who were the people that trained him. Somebody would have trained him. All right? And these are some of the things he would have collected from those people. So that's continuity. All right? Leadership is the continuity of personalities. That's the sense in which, you have that perspective of leadership. Like I said, it's a humbling perspective. It's a very humbling perspective. And you see it play out here. So that it's not so much about the greater works that you do. It is more importantly about to what extent do you continue to, plant in others the things that you collected from your own mentor or from your own leader. This, when you have this kind of understanding, your approach to leadership will be different. It will be fulfilling, and it will still be result-oriented. And you would be getting the results that truly matter, not just achieving some, funny KPIs, because you can achieve KPIs without impacting the people. And you can see from what Tony has shared with us that, yes, the KPIs are important, but he doesn't consider accomplishment of the KPIs as his primary success. He said the success of others, meaning essentially that my ability to nurture and develop others is a primary consideration for measuring my success. And indeed is the means towards achieving a success that is sustainable. Okay, so I hope that provides some clarification to that issue, sir. Does that help to put things in proper context? So So Tony can become a Chief Banigo today because, if Chief Banigo is no longer on the scene, but Tony always knows where he collected what he collected from and who it is who has made him, in large part who he is today. And the same thing applies to Pastor Adeboye. If you would listen to him share with you, you see that there is no way he's going to tell his story without acknowledging his source. And he's humble enough as well, not to get overly excited about how much the ministry has grown under him. In fact, he will tell you that the person who trained him, all right, had already told him what will happen to the ministry under him, how much the ministry will grow under him, all right, to show you again some of the foresights that true leaders have. And I, again, like I've said, and maybe I'll say this in conclusion, it's those statements that Jesus made are not contradictory, and they're useful to humble all of us. They're useful to humble all of us because if not, some people can get ahead of themselves. Because make no mistake, when it's easy when you have succeeded at the level of the likes of Tony, at the level of the likes of Adeboye, that you can easily fall into pride. So you need to have certain basic understanding and certain basic principles that you live by that help to keep your feet firmly on the ground. Otherwise, you soon miss it. And once you miss it, you may never recover. You may never recover. And that would be a great shame. All right. Okay, so is there any other comment that anyone would like to make or any other clarification? I think it's just the right time before we bring the session to a close. Any last words? Please feel free. The platform is free. You can share your link with friends, with colleagues. They can join us. This is what we do here. We don't only mouth leadership. We work on ourselves by building our understanding, by imparting knowledge. You can see what Tony said there, so that we also can continue to improve in our capacity and our competence to lead. When you have this kind of understanding, you are hesitant, to just go around criticizing other people, and making statements that are inappropriate, and you focus on how you can play your leadership role as effectively as possible, as your contribution towards moving the system, the nation, the company, whatever it is, towards, that point where we can have the right kind of leadership in place. When you have leadership in place, good leadership in place, every other thing will fall into place. Every other thing will fall into place. All right, so I take it there are no final words. Okay, sorry, I think there is some, okay, sorry, it was Mr. Oni's. Okay, so thank you very much for joining the session this evening. I hope it's been a worthwhile time for your good selves. Next week, Saturday, is another date, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. West African time is when we meet, and it's the Smart Leader Live. Let me also mention that the Smart Leader Live is an integral component of the Smart Leader program. The Smart Leader program is a 30-day leadership development program that helps to walk you through the essentials of leadership you want, a rapid capacity boosting or building program on leadership, that's a program that you want to enroll in. 30 days, every day, and you do it at your pace, you do it in your privacy. When you enroll for it, every day you get a video via your email, and that video covers an aspect of leadership, delivers a message, gives you an assignment which you have to submit. I respond to those assignments personally. I send you a video, speaking to you directly. And we do that for 30 days. There is a bonus day on the 31st day, which is like a wrap up. So the idea is that, those who are on that program also have the opportunity of interacting live with me every Saturday at this time, where they have the opportunity of asking any questions or seeking clarifications on whatever it is they have learned over the course of that week. That's one of the reasons also that we have the Smart Leader Live. So again, if you are interested in the Smart Leader Live, I think today I'm just not prepared. I wasn't just prepared to share the link, but I promise that next week I will share the link. It's a program you don't want to miss. There are a couple of people on the platform this evening who have gone through the Smart Leader Live, and I'm sure they can share with us what their experiences have been. So once again, thank you very much for joining this evening. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your night and have a wonderful week ahead. Bye-bye.